Hello, hi, it is me, Desai, small time Didi, your hidden DJ over internet, and I'm back to issue apologies, but to get this third part out. I did a lot of lip smacking in the last video, and that's because I know when you drink something, you're constantly trying to clear your airway and doing whatever, but also I was chilly, so I was using the tea to also keep warm. So I'm sorry about the lip smacking and just the humors that is that video. But we're at the end of it, and it's episode 7 through to 9, but mostly 8 and 9 because you guys, do you know what I forgot to mention? Like, and I don't know why, because I laughed about it the whole day. After all the humors happened, all the commotion of like Isaac finding out. And if you're new here, they're constantly checking my mic. Guys, Ronaldo trauma here on the channel. Bear with us where our mic has been off and we've just been going. We've been going because the thing is, it's low, and how I place my camera, I can't see the light bouncing off there, and I'm like, oh, it's still on. And also, when I first connected to the phone, it just beeps to show me that it's connected, and then it goes away. So it's not continuously letting me know that it's on. That's why I keep doing this. And like, I know it's annoying, but like, practice. I'll get better at this. All right. Thank you to the new people. Thank you to the old people for riding with me. Let's see this thing through. Also, should I rewatch Nairobi? Because I fell off. If you want, should I? Is it worth it, you guys? Let me know. This girl, Baringiki Kanya did not give a shit about what Isaac had just gone through. Granted, she had her own tiff with, but she didn't care even before she had her exchange of words, not an exchange, when she started yelling, even before she had yelled at Caesar and then got into it with Nkateko. She didn't care that this one was going through it. This girl at 4 a.m. says to Isaac, guys, they're sleeping. Kaya. Imagine Isaac, the same Isaac who you didn't give a shit what Isaac was going through. Now Isaac must imagine. And she sits up, guys, and she's like, imagine I go back to Nkateko. He will finish me. You know, my best friend and I have been trying to understand what she means. Like, you're the aggressor. And I'm not saying Nkateko is innocent, but this is how delusional. Guys, Kanya doesn't see anything the matter with her behavior. And in parts where she somewhat understands that it might not be acceptable, she does not fully grasp how disgusting she is. Right? Because she's pretty, so it should make it okay. But we move. What happened in episode 7? People are back together with their partners. Some people are struggling to adjust. Some people have missed each other. I think Courtney and her person had an easier time because they weren't partnered with people whom they were into like that, like romantically. So they had an easier sort of retransition into each other's, their old patterns. I think, what's his name? Genesis missed his partner. He was going to have an easier transition, provided she didn't fall so hard for Lindile. But they were also having a harder time finding their footing. They get back to their villa after the recoupling ceremonial, however it is you call however they've named that thing. And with Genesis has set up a whole thing and bought Tabby a whole bunch of gifts. Give me a second. Not even sure where I was. When everybody gets back to their respective villas, we find that Genesis has set up a whole vibe for he and Tabby, but mostly for Tabby. He says her love language is gift giving, and that's a different conversation. I think within Tabby, it's the kind of gift giving that makes sense to me. It seems to be more sentimental. I didn't see like over the top extravagant gifts, more than like things that were thoughtful, I think. But gift giving as a love language is a very confusing concept to me. But to each his own. It is nice to receive things, obviously, but for that to be the language that like makes the most sense to you in terms of how somebody can show you affection has always been bizarre. Like, because we don't always have the means, right? So, like, if that's the most effective way to say I love you, I mean, do we know what we're saying when we say these things? Okay. Maybe, listen, I've said it on my TikTok, maybe it's because I'm cheap, or and not me like cheap on myself, but maybe it's because I've not been in spaces where that's been something that was extended to me, and gazakala, like I told myself, okay, we can't want things don't want us. I don't know what it is, but I don't get it. I just, anytime we head a direction where we like tether communication of any kind to an act where I must now seep myself in consumerism in order to like perform this thing, I get confused. Like, it always seems like a force of capitalism to me, you know. I don't care about Valentine's Day, and I'm not even saying other people shouldn't. I'm just saying, and no, it's not any other day. For some of you, I get it. You know what? I get it, but it's always this like pompous fare of like stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. And I think part of it is like how hyper aware I am of the fact that I come from a home where there's a hoarding problem, and I have some of those tendencies as well. And I'm like, when I start saying how best to communicate love to me is by getting me things, how does that help this other problem that I feel I also have? Also, it's just consumerism. Okay, just it's not a love language. I refuse. I'm sorry. Okay, but let's move, right? But then as this is happening, she sees another little big package on her bed, and she goes on there and she opens it, and there's a teddy bear. Let me tell you something. I know what I just said, but there's something about a teddy bear. Teddy bears don't get old. I don't give a shit how old you are. If you were the type of person or the type of, because mostly it's girls, right? But maybe guys want teddies. Maybe they do, right? Oh, literally, I'm being tickled by this. And I thought there was a ghost in my shirt because I didn't want it to be rubbing up on the mic. And so I also have my hair flipped on the side. I usually wear my hair like. But there's a teddy there, and it turns out that the teddy's from Lindile, you know, and she hugs it. Because this creates a tiff, right? Because we see Tabby during the day when Singer happens to be at work, or she's just not at the house. Caesar. She goes over there and she only finds, you know, her now ex, I suppose. Lindile, and she gifts him the gift that they were supposed to exchange with each other. And the bag is what goes around comes around. That's what it says on it. And I think there's a shirt, and I can't remember what all. They're happy to see each other. And he leaves it on the counter. And it creates a whole thing. I understand where everybody's coming from, but I understand less where Tabi and Lindile are coming from. They should have done this parting gift the evening off. If they knew they wanted to exchange gifts, they should have done this before they headed to the recoupling ceremony. This was always going to create contention. It's expecting a level of understanding from somebody who's in love with you. Like, you're expecting a level of understanding in an already contentious situation. That's not fair. I don't feel it was fair for either of them. At the same time, I felt that, I mean, Genesis is a gent, you know, and Genesis is not like, he's a gentleman. He really is, you know, and he was trying to respect Tabby's process. But I also think it was a lot of that guilt of realizing that, this girl has been asking me to do this very simple stuff for her. Now Bariz and Amo does this shit and look at her, she's all smitten. Like, this is what I was failing to do. Let me tell you something. Like, I mean, it worked out, I guess, for Genesis, but I looked at him and how scared and panicked he was that he's losing his woman. And Genesis as well as Isaac, when I look at their partners, Ruth and Tabby, these are women who've been asking for the same thing because, you know, they try to gaslight us very often of like, oh, I'm not a mind reader. Just tell me what you want and I'll do it. And then you do it and it doesn't get done. Right? You tell them quite explicitly, I like dates or I like this. Can we do more of this thing? I would like to meet your family. This would be important to me. Right? You say, and then it's not met. Right? I don't know if the idea is you're not going anywhere anyway if I don't do it. And the thing about us women sometimes is that once I stop asking, I understand that if you start doing those things, it's not going to invoke the same emotion that it would have if first you had done it without me asking, but second you had done it when I communicated explicitly to you that I like this. If you wait and when you do it, it just feels like you're doing it because you're now in panic because you're like, ah, Eriki did this thing. We're no longer interested. That very same thing, that very task that you could perform, I won't give a shit. And the next guy, he does the exact same to a T, but he does it without being told to do so, or he does it when being told to do so within a respectable or acceptable time frame of being told. Then it gets the reaction that it's supposed to get. A lot of you think you can drag your feet. You do. You do. Genesis, you're not. Oh, Genesis is scared the whole time. But we saw Ruth getting into sort of a back and forth. See, Ruth and Thingaki were over for me, and I think I should let me talk about couples as to how they move from 7 to 9. I think I'll get done. Ruth and Isaac. Ruth and Isaac, obviously it's not nice back at the house because she was out here getting her bag. But you know, Ruth is the girl we think we are. Ruth is the girl we say we are. Ruth, as a student of One Brook Logan. Ruth. Okay. Ruth doesn't just say shit. Okay. Ruth got the dick she wanted. Okay. Honored her clit. Right? And Ruth still had standards after. Ruth was still saying to this dude, well, I'm not sorry because why the fuck should she be sorry? Ruth wasn't trying to suck up or whatever. She was being kind within reason while holding forth. That's a soldier. That right there is a student of Brook Logan, a graduate. The rest of us, flunkies, okay? Ruth is who Kanya thinks she is. You see, Ruth has standards. Kanya's a bully. You follow? Okay, that relationship was over. I was also not sure why Isaac was sticking around. And she says that to him, like, okay, you're here, but I don't know why you're here. And he gets up, just goes to the bag and like whips out the ring and he's like, this is why I'm here. And I think that's supposed to be the, you know, you know, and she says that, she's like, oh, I think he's like, you know, I was supposed to feel like, oh my God, I fucked up. But I've asked for this and I wasn't getting it. So now it doesn't have the impact it's supposed to have. It's just, oh, a little shiny thing in a box. Oh, that's cute for whomever. You know, I'm happy for them. That's cute for them. You know, but Isaac did not want to be there either. I think the experience with Kanya drove home like the reality, because men get to be delusional, right, as to what they can really pull in the like they get to be delusional. They aren't humbled early enough. We women are far too scared for our own safety to reject men with the vitriol that they reject us. There are a lot of unambiguous Black women online, or women who aren't celebrated as beauties. Like, but Kanya's mid. Kanya is mid at best. Okay. But obviously she gets more points But there are women who look more like me and less like Kanya on the internet laughing with me because we've experienced the vitriol with which guys like the Nkatekos and the Isaacs, how they treat women who look like us because they're convinced they stand a chance to be the preferred victim of a Kanya. They would rather not be the king of a Lebu and I, right? And opt to be the victim of one Kanya. And that rejection, how they serve it to us in real life, in public spaces, how what they do to us, how even if I'm not even talking about romantic stuff. I've shared a story on here with you guys about how countless experiences actually where, especially if it's a group where I am sitting with women who are considered attractive, the lengths with like to which men go to communicate their like disinterest and even like disdain bordering on disgust for my very presence within this group of beautiful women. Like, why am I here? You know, or oh, next to this it's like, why couldn't you look like her? You know, but it's like, why do you think I want you? Because they always overestimate their fucking pull, right? Always punching above their weight, always. So now that Isaac realized in this exercise that, oh fuck, I was right where I was supposed to be. And even then, he doesn't deserve Ruth. Ruth is fucking gorgeous, smart, knows what she wants, knows where she's at. She can pull what. Can you believe Kanya called her ugly? I was like, bitch, you're ugly. You know, gorgeous girl. Even there, he won. Right? That is still above his weight in my eyes, pulling a Ruth. You see, who stuck around for this rubbish for 2 years hoping he'd come around. It's now dawned on him that, oh, I gotta make this shit work because it's actually colder than I thought out there. And because they have imaginary opportunities, like they have an imaginary pull, and it's like, oh, the world is teeming with baddies you don't have access to. It's like, say the entire sentence. Do you see? Calm down, find your people and settle down. And he's not realizing that. So he's trying to, with everything that's happened, work through those feelings. I can respect what he's going through emotionally, you know, in terms of his partner being really the only partner who had the sexual experience with this other person. But they're working through this stuff, but you can tell it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. And she finally gets to meet his people. They have the lunch and she's standing her ground, you know, and she's explaining that, but this is what I'm asking for in a partner. And if he's not willing to change these things, then it doesn't even matter if he gives me the ring because that's not the husband I want. You know, this is what I want. If I say I need more sex, then you give me more sex, you know. And Isaac's whole thing is, I still need to be Isaac. And everybody's trying to let him know that there's like the I stops. It's more a we conversation, you know, and it's taking a while because he's still living in a bit of Delulu land, living in Delulu there. I see him. And I think every interaction we see Ruth, this is what they tell you when they say women leave the relationship slowly. Ruth is reconciling with this breakup happening. She is working through the breakup with every interaction. And it's still sad. It's still hard, you know? At the ring ceremony, Isaac takes out the ring and he says his little spiel and then he puts it back. He's like, I really feel you deserve somebody better. And she nods. I personally feel like these two honored themselves. They lived their truths more than any other couple. And they go their separate ways. And Isaac is like, he just wants to take a break for a while. And Ruth is like, if love comes, you know, then it comes. But, you know, I'm single for now. And that's my Logan. That's my Logan, you know? Moving on to Courtney and her partner. They meet up with their parents. How come I forgot his name? And his name is not Alec. Oh, damn it, man. What is his name? But they meet up with their parents. They have her mom and dad there, and then they have just his mom there. He looks so much like his mom. Listen, I lost the boy's name and I don't know how, because I actually, his name is not Alec. But they meet up with their parent. I don't think her parents want her to get married as yet. I don't think they want her to get married to him before he shows something. But I think it's the challenge of parenthood. This scene to me demonstrated that, you raise them and then you release them and you try to trust them to make their own decisions. And even where you see that, I don't think so. You don't try to control that decision. You let them know that you'll be there for them and you support them and you let them journey because you were led to journey. And it looks like a very, very difficult thing, because they're worried about him not having like an income. Like, how are you planning to take care of this person? That's the other thing that I never understood about white people. Why is the bride's family paying for the wedding? Like, okay, the guy goes to ask for the daughter's hand in marriage. So you're coming to ask me to spend my money. Like, if that's like the bride is my child, right? And you come to, I'm going to say, no, I don't have money to pay for a wedding. Like, you don't have the money. You don't have the money. Like, you're going to ask her to marry you and I must spend the money to pay for a wedding. I must pay for a decision you made. White people, some stuff you guys get right. This is not one of them. It maketh no sense to us. Okay? The whole point as the groom's family is to prove that you are going to be able to take care of this person. You're relieving her father of that duty of taking care of her if we're gonna, run with like the traditional kind of rules around the stuff. My throat is not having it. Aiden, I found his name on my way to get the side to Google his name. I don't necessarily feel like Courtney's parents feel like something is the matter with him. They have those very like real concerns, I feel, but in terms of Aiden and Jen and Genesis and Tabby, I wonder if I'm wrong. I wonder if like Hollywood has us so fucked up in the head that we don't know what a long-term relationship looks like, and we're still looking for that thing, and really what you need is this great friendship. Or if they're selling themselves short and they're missing out on passion, I really don't know, because they had a lovely time with their parents. It seems like Aiden has done a lot of work. I still think he's a bit unsure of himself, and I think a lot of it may actually be rooted in his inability to contribute his half to the household, like, the financial element of stuff. I think if he figures that part of his identity, then perhaps it's not going to be, he's not going to look so unsure and he'll find his footing. Perhaps he's supposed to be the homemaker and caretaker and she's supposed to be out there. Maybe their roles are, not what we consider to be traditional, and they're reversed, and that should be okay. And if he's good at that, then that ought to be what they do. But if he's just being a lazy bum, then, fuck you, Aiden. But I don't mean that, because I think he looks just like his mommy, by the way. Aiden is such a cute guy. He really is. Maybe that's why Courtney, I'm not saying Courtney is not a cute girl, but it's like, there's a simplicity about them. And the puzzle fits, but you always wonder if it's fitting the right purpose. I met a friend in let me not say recent, but after high school, like in adulthood. And when we met, I was going through I don't want to be single, and like I live in such a small town that when we made our connection, I so badly wanted it to be a romantic one, but I knew, son, I knew deep down inside, I knew. But he was strong and brave enough to like steer us the friendship route. And when he explicitly communicated that, because like I knew, I didn't even try to fight it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, because like I knew. But they tell us that the connection has to be romantic. So you push for it, even when it's not fitting quite right. But like, something is, it doesn't rag me, man. There's just like something is a bit off. But why is that? I mean, it's not entering, but it's not. It's not. But Aiden proposes. That's how they end their season. Aiden proposes. I think their proposal was so cute and lovely. I wish them well, but I really wish there was more of a spark there. I think they are lacking passion, and maybe we all don't need that. And I'm not saying like I'm not saying the toxicity that is in Kateko and Kanya. I'm talking there's a thing, a zing, as Drax says. And I no, it's not there. But they have something, and maybe that thing is because the experience cannot look the same when everybody. Maybe that thing that they have just it hasn't been propped up as the thing, and so when we see it, we don't recognize it for the beautiful thing that it is in romantic coupling. But he proposes. She gives him a little ring back. What did she say it symbolizes? Was it his growth and him trying the work that what was it for? I even forgot, but he got a little something back. I thought that was so thoughtful of Courtney. That was so nice. And then we have Tabby and Jen. When I tell you, Manika Jen, there is nobody who was on edge quite like Genesis. Man, Genesis didn't know whether he was coming or going. He was the one, Jen, who could not with certainty be like, man, but the other people, guys, I feel like with the other couples, the uncertainty wasn't so much, are you going to go back to the person you were coupled with for 3 weeks? It was mostly, have you come out of this with the revelation that we're just not it? Like Ruth and Isaac. Like Ruth wasn't wanting to be with Nola. She was just like, and Isaac was also like, Aiden, has he done enough growth to propose? But with these people in particular, Lindile and Caesar, Lindile was uncertain as to whether Caesar would want to go and be with Nkateko. And then with Jen, he was like, would she want to go and be with Lindile? Would Tabby want to go and be with Lindile? And theirs felt like they I like where they end up. I actually do think they're honoring themselves. They are the other couple that are being authentic to themselves and their journey. And I think they found each other, which is what Tabby said, it was rocky there when they first got back to their places and stuff. Jen was feeling like, I prepared all of this and for her to come, and how she's reacting with the teddy bear that Lindile got her, I feel like I was never in her mind. Like I'd never crossed her mind. That's how we feel. When I have to ask you time and time again to do something for me, or there's never a day where I feel like spontaneously you've just done something for me, I feel like I never cross your mind. Like I feel like you never think of my needs, and not necessarily my needs, but how can I make that girl smile today? What will make her smile? I feel like you never consider that about me. And Jen got to feel that. He got to feel what it's like to not, because I suppose Tabby's always doing something for him, right? Or doing something for them to enjoy together. And he knows that he's front and center of her mind. And to feel like you are not featuring after being such a feature for so long, because they've been together for a while, right? Like 7 years or so, since varsity days. For him to experience that, the boy was shaken. The boy was scared. The boy was like, is he going to choose? Is she going to go back to Lindile? Why is my brother calling me? Like, why? Is she going to go back to Lindile? What is this? He even had a sit down with Lindile when the boys gathered and stuff. And he was like, yo, like, do you think, because like, who are over there, He handled that teddy bear situation so well. Anyway, he wrote her a letter and he's a cute boy, Jen. See, Jen and Aiden are the same guy, you guys. I swear. I freaking know it. They went back to they had their proposal. Jen proposed and she accepted. It felt genuine. It felt like her experience with Lindile had come to a close, like the escape that it was. But like the doubt she had made sense for me. When I ask you to do something for me and you don't, and when I stop asking, you try and do those things. I'm not like, were you coerced? Are you doing it because like I bothered you enough, or like I was being pesky about it? Like I can't enjoy it. That's why the idea that we must explicitly communicate our every need is just fucking ridiculous. Then when are you watching me? Are you paying attention? Are you observing? Are you picking up on what I like and don't like? Are you doing any of that? Because then if you were, I wouldn't have to communicate everything to you. Like a fucking child. I don't even give a shit. Like once I've said it enough times and it's not happening, you don't want to. You don't want to. And when you start doing it like umbora, yo, one man, like you're better off continuing doing nothing. I'm used to this now. I'm used to not being appreciated. That's our thing, right? You just act. You just say, "Oh, I'll do it." Like that's our thing. If because I'm practiced at this now. Now you want me to practice like being fake happy over something I asked for 3 months ago. It's like, anyway, he proposes. Everybody looks so cute to the little proposals, you guys. He proposed, she accepts, like the letter was so thoughtful, like he really pained his feelings. The boy understood that he had to put in work. It took all of that, and I think they're going to be happy. I do. They seem to have, they remain childlike. They keep each other young like that, and I love that for them. I do. Lindile and Caesar did not honor themselves. Caesar is being dishonest. Some of you online are saying you were rooting for Caesar and Kateko. I wasn't. That woman will always deserve better than that person. I was not. But this experience, even if Caesar is not saying she wants to go back to Nkateko, she's realized what she wants and what is not it. First of all, 6 months and you bring this girl on the show. You make a connection with Tavi. When Tavi brought the gift, by the way, he didn't hide it. He left it on the counter. And I'm not saying he should have hid it, but maybe he should have, But it upset Sizakele because she's like, your time with her is over. We're trying to find our footing here again. And I don't appreciate this. And I felt like she's in her right to do so. And she said, please take it back. The next day she comes back from work and he's probably been, I don't know, at the gym. She says, why is this still here? Because I asked you to take this back yesterday. So when I'm done doing this, can you take this thing back? Then he says he's not going to do it. Sizakele seems to attract men who want to take advantage of her soft, nature. they think not only do they not have to protect her from other people attacking her, but they also don't have to honor her wishes because she won't stick up for herself, or so they think. So she takes it back herself. Tabi says she feels disrespected. Lindile should have brought it back in the afternoon. And because you are still in like with him, he would have found the wording to explain it to you such that it was palatable and put a close to it. Or he should have hid it or found some way to donate it, gave it to somebody at the gym, something. But he should have, but he, you know, she says they've only been together for 6 months. Lindile and Caesar. And she says, oh, he's moping about the house, literally like an overgrown child. Fuck you, you're not even that hard, okay? Moping about the house, and she's like, well, it's gonna be on me to it falls on me to run after him and ask what's wrong, because he's just gonna mope around. Let me explain something quickly. This and silent treatment, abuse. Making somebody walk around, you are taking shots at like their central nervous system. They're having to be tensed up, right? And that wave, it moves throughout the body. Okay, that kind of tension, it can sit on your shoulders, strain your neck, give you a headache, make you antsy, make you jumpy because you're so anxious because you don't know. It's abusive. Learn to be an effective communicator. This is fucking rubbish. You're not a child. Use your words. Even children know to find a way to communicate. That's why they cry and throw tantrums, right? In order to illustrate that, listen, iets is nie reg nie. So something is the matter over here. Walking about the place and like lying on the bed, and then she must initiate the conversation as if she's done something wrong. You brought her here. And then his whole, so Sally, from when Caesar was outside taking a stroll with Nkateko, that's the first week of the trial marriage. He made notes, like mental notes of when she comes back. I'm switching into this gear. This is abusive. I'm switching into this gear because I'm mad about this. And she says, I know that is vengeful. You're only 6 months in, baby. You can get out. You don't need to put up with this. It's not like he has medical aid. And I saw that he's 32. Postgraduate certificate in education. You were made, Papa. Like, you can push passion when you push passion. Like, I don't know when that's gonna be. It's you. Bana banyaka bumenyer. Nyaka bumistrisi de bumenyer. Matukura skolon. Because honestly. So he's made mental notes of like, I'm gonna hold this against her, and when she comes back, I'm making her apologize. And his whole thing was, you were not considering me when you were running out there and being overly affectionate with Nkateko. I was also being intimate with Tabi, but we were doing it in our space. That's your comfort level. If she's a PDA kind of hand and she mustn't fully immerse herself in her experience because you want to hide your experience. Maybe you're hiding your experience because you don't want her to realize the depths of it, right? We don't know. What do you know? We know nothing. 6 months. 6 months is not enough for you to be putting up with anything, babe. You can't even say you've put in the time and he's only started acting this way 2 months ago, and you've been together for 10 years. So he's going through something, he's grieving. You work through it with him, because people have seasons, and if you love somebody, you work through their seasons with them, because believe it or not, you're also that person and you have your seasons. 6 months. 6 months, you already know this is the type of person to sort of hold a grudge and you're in for it. And he should have taken that thing back. He should have taken that gift back. I see everybody's angle on this one. But he's also scared that she may want to go and be with Nkateko. And he also links up with Nkateko to talk about it. And, he's antsy about it. At their proposal, he does propose to her. I hope they're not together. But he's also having doubts about whether or not marriage is really the next step. So they'll probably have a long engagement. The thing is, he never brought her here for that. He brought her here for exposure. But that's fine. I hope somebody's seen him and he's hired to do something somewhere. I don't know. That's where they end. And then we have I done everybody except Juan Kateko and that ratchet? Yeah. Webenkateko and Kanya. Upon returning from the recoupling, Kateko knows that shit's on edge. She poured wine on him, guys. She's telling him to get off the bed. You can't sleep on this bed. You can't this. You can't that. Then is that the cheap wine you bought her? Like chugs a glass of wine on him. He's standing there just being like, why are you acting like this? You're so old, blah, blah. It looks like a song and dance that they do. It's exactly like Lindile and Caesar, but Lindile is passive with the abuse, right? It's a bit more, you might miss it, but not me. This is a bit more in your face, right? And you're only a year in. You all have all been seeing each other for a year, and within a year, so udifilelini, what, the first 2 weeks, and then you all have been rah since. I did you missy, and this girl, ne? If the rumor is true that she made a child, push comes to shove, just take the whole season and go to the courts and they'll give you a kid, whoever you are. That's it. That's what you don't need a lawyer. Don't waste your money. It doesn't even need to be a subscription. Just get your mate who has Netflix. They'll give you the kid. Because the idea that this person has to raise, and Katako says that he's like, I'm very uncertain as to whether or not marriage is the step I want to take with her, because every time I think about children with her, I arrive at no. That did not, guys. They start to make up, right? They met at each other the first day. The next day, when he's coming back from work, he brings the Woolworths groceries that she likes. I saw flowers on the counter at some top. And then they laugh about a bug or something, and her essentially making fun of Caesar being this like soft-spoken girl and the way that she reacts. And they laugh about it, and that's how they make up. They're back on and they're having sex. They're in the bed kissing. I'm like, are those the same lips housing the same set of teeth that she told him to go and do something about? Now you're kissing her with the They like to lie to us and tell us about how like men choose themselves. Men live with women like Kanya. And they make kids with women like this, and they find a Caesar and they abandon those kids with a monster like this. That's what men do. Right? Because before she opens her mouth and he's the one standing next to her, he's winning in the other Owen's eyes. He's the guy. He's a man. Then she opens her mouth and it's like, he's not winning that much, but it's like, but we get why. Yo. It's like they're working through their thing. There seems to be a pattern of this. I'm very disgusted. Like, honestly, this girl's disgusting to me, and I don't know what else to say. I don't know. At the ring ceremony, he pulls out a ring, lies. That's the other thing about Nkateko, just lying. Just not honoring himself. He knows he doesn't want to be with this girl anymore. He knows it. I don't know if he's scared of her reaction if he rejects her, because the other thing about people like her, they don't like to be rejected. She needs to be the one to leave the relationship so she can feel like she threw you away. Because you're going to have problems. If it doesn't work out exactly that way, you're not safe. There she is, dressed in a little cute dress, and pulls out a ring, lies about like not wanting to have kids, wanting to have little Kanyas running around. Nobody wants, nobody. Kanya doesn't want to deal with a little Kanya. Neither do you. Okay? And then he's like, this ring is a promise that I will be marrying you. She's like, what is this? He's like, it's a promise ring. First of all, promise rings are a joke to me. Promise rings have been, this is somebody who doesn't want to get married. But it's like, my dude, we're either engaged. And as an African girl, by the time somebody gives you an engagement ring, ibe luri bagogodile, and then badofejisa lenlene. Like the first round of negotiations should have like been underway. Then he buys you the ring, and then they're gonna do the second rounds and the reception, and now whatever. Or the date for the malume. No, why are you wearing a ring before they've discussed anything? Actually, no. Promise rings are a joke to me. Like, I feel like promise rings and purity rings were to promote, like, obviously purity culture among a sect of people. And it's like a promise ring would make sense if Genesis gave Tavi in the second year, because he's trying to say, dude, I'm so committed to you, but we're young and I don't have this. Girl, she's 33. The cookie's there. What you promising her? You're either marrying her or you aren't. And you know you aren't. Why are we playing this game? A promise ring at the ripe age of 33. Yo. Nkaluma everybody at the beers. Everybody. Like, and she's like, no, take it off. Like, she doesn't want that. What does that mean? The conversation was a promise ring, but then Kateko still wants to lie. Kateko still wants to lie and stay in this thing. I think he's trying to push her to be the one to call it off. At some point, he's like, okay, fine. Like, he now tries to make it an engagement, and she's like, with the same ring, the one that was just a promise ring. I think she's embarrassed, obviously. I'm sort of proud of him because in a way, he did try to honor himself, but he took a very cowardly way out, a way that felt safe. But there you have it. Like, if the girl doesn't look like that, mid to entry level baddie, if the girl doesn't look like that, then a guy like Nkateko doesn't put up with this. That girl would have been dumped eons and eons ago. Guys, I think I got to everybody. The season was good. I can't wait for the reunion. Did I get to everybody? Let me see. 6 couples now. Aiden and Courtney, Tabby and Jen, Ruth and Isaac, Caesar and Nantu. Was it 5 couples? Caesar and other couple left. That's why I keep feeling like I'm forgetting people. Nola and Lebu, who are hopefully not coupled wherever they are. But that's it, Chella. I have to watch real. My friend was like, girl, did you watch Durban? I'm like, and she's like, yeah. I gotta watch the reunion and come on over here and listen, we can talk. I don't see it trending. I think people are still talking Ultimatum. But I'm editing Didi and I'm realizing I forgot to discuss this hectic scene between Ruth and Kanya because I was handling the couples and how they finished their journey and stuff. The ladies gathered and the guys also gathered. And the ladies had a little pajama party and they were all talking about, okay, how's it been being back with your partner? And all of that. Everything is going well, but there's somebody who can't exist in peace, right? We have somebody on the cast who can't just let like well enough be. And she tries to attack my Brooke Logan, says to my Ruth, this is Kanya now. So the sex with Why did you have sex with him? Were you just... She's so fucking delayed. What's it got on you? Not fucking around. Not a husband like you want. Not a family like you want. She said, Ruth answers her. Ruth is like, no, I just wanted to have the sex. Like, I really just wanted to have the sex. She doesn't like that answer. She must also have the last word in, and she accuses other people of that. That was an answer. That answer was done. Okay, cool girl, done. No. She has to push, right? It's trying to shame her. I feel like why would you let somebody have full access to your body? Because it's mine. Ruth literally says to her, because it's mine. And I'm the idea that you're letting somebody have full access to your body, and that you aren't actively participating in an activity and sharing your body and theirs, like it's a, I mean, we know how sex works, right? I think I know how sex works. But she's delayed. She's playing by all the rules that have yet to yield a result for her. And it's like it's not even clocking that she's been playing by these rules. I'm a flower, I'm a this, I'm a that, and zero. And if what they're saying is true on the internet, that she's just had a baby, whatever happened to that? I just wanted to be married, unless she got married out of the blue. I mean, we're Africans. Customary law is very much recognized by our Western laws in this country, so it would be the same thing. But I don't think that's what happened. I think Miss Ma'am felt like she's running out of time and it just had to get done. But trying to shame Ruth over something that, like, your values aren't aligned. Whatever you may feel about sex and what that thing is, isn't how she feels. And she's not used to people standing up to her. By now, she thinks she's the head bitch in charge. Like, at this point, she thinks these girls understand that they don't back up to her. Ruth came for her. Ruth was like, girl, you're not about to try and shame me about anything. Not you, who's rumored to be like sleeping with men to pay for your lifestyles. And honestly, they asked you what you do, and you kept saying I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. Everybody who asked her, no self-respecting woman in business, and I don't care what scale. I can say this because I'm self-employed at a very micro scale, right? But I'm not walking into rooms saying, and not elaborating, because you're aware that at all times you're selling your brand. Unless I'm talking to some guy whom I know he's not interested. He's asking to make conversation. Then I'm a student. I'm always a student. I'm always some broke bitch. I'm always trying to sell myself as some broke bitch, which I am, but like, like proper. Like, I might not have claws, kind of broke, because then they back off you quite quickly. But outside of that, no, I'm selling my brand. I'm trying to get some t-shirts. I'm trying to rep, but at no point do we figure out what she does. Well, we do, actually. She sits all day and she festers in whatever thing that, because there's nothing else going on. So things can occupy a lot of space in her brain, as we saw. Her back and forth with Ruth took up so much space in her brain. When she got home to Nkateko, she went on about it for hours and hours and hours and hours, because she was like short-circuiting. She could not comprehend, like, her little chip can't compute how somebody whom it's in the scene that she calls Ruth ugly. You wish Ruth was ugly. You wish Ruth, you who just made it in, you wish Ruth was ugly. I don't know how the hell I forgot that interaction. Ruth was like, I'm not going to be the one, girl. I'm not afraid of you. You don't know where I'm from. And she sizes people up. Even in her interaction with Ruth, she's measured. All of that yelling she's doing with Sizakele, if she was doing that with another Sizakele type person, she would have gotten like unruly in the same fashion. But I think she did the math very quickly that it's not going to go like that with Ruth. The reason Ruth sat down when all of that stuff was happening with Lebo is she made a lot of calculations, right? She wants to take up as little space as possible. She's part of the problem. Yes, she's come clean, but that doesn't mean this girl is not hurt. It's not because she can't hold her own. There's certain people, they can hold their own when they feel in the right, and when they know they've done something wrong, they know to just hold back and behave. In this instance, she, like me deciding to share my body and share somebody else's body in a consensual manner as adults where we weren't cheating as per the rules of like the experiment. What you trying to shame me for? But that's all. Let's get back to the rest of the video. But mwah, mwah, bye.